Many people can understand vegetarianism, but they think that veganism is too extreme because what's wrong with milk and a few eggs, right? I want to find out what happens with these products before they hit our shelves. Now, hens that are in the egg industry lay around 300 eggs per year, whereas if they were in the wild, they'd be producing around 20 eggs per year. So how is that actually possible?
They've been selectively bred to just keep on pumping out eggs. The places aren't sanctuaries, they're farms, and the idea of farms is profit.
Right.
So to make more profit, you have to have more eggs. In this country, around about 50% of them are on free-range farms, which you've heard about. And also you have what are now called enriched cages, and your viewers have probably heard the battery cage, which has been banned, which is obviously great news, but of course what's been replaced by is just a bigger cage.
What's wrong with free-range?
I mean, Britain eats something like 33 million eggs a week. And so you've got to produce all of that, and half of those are free range. You have thousands of birds crammed into sheds, and you have pop holes, which are the holes that the birds can go in and out of and use the outside space. We get many birds who never leave the sheds. And only about 10% of birds will be outside at any one time on a free-range farm.
The lifespan of a dairy cow is much shorter, and I believe it's described as them being spent when their milk production actually slows down. So what happens to them next?
They have worked out that it's cheaper to kill the animals at 5-6 years old and get 10 times more milk than she would naturally produce, or when naturally she'd live into her 20s in the case of dairy cows. She only has milk because she gives birth to a baby. A lot of people forget that. They think eat grass, produce milk.
What happens to those calves?
Males are killed 1 day old, or sometimes they'll breed them for a few months for low-grade beef. So you have to remember the dairy industry is very much intertwined with the meat industry.
There's the Animal Welfare Act of 2006 and the Welfare for Farmed Animals Regulation of 2007. And so did these things not help in any way?
The reality is that animals are treated as objects, as commodities to produce food for us. And therefore the welfare is, the last thing in consideration. It's only considered if it impacts on money. DEFRA,
the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, declined an interview, but they did make this statement. The UK is proud to have the highest animal welfare standards in the world, and the government takes robust enforcement action against animal welfare breaches. There are strict rules that govern the slaughter of animals in England, and official veterinarians are present in every slaughterhouse to ensure compliance with regulations. In addition, there are extensive EU and national rules on protecting the welfare of animals during transport. The dairy industry does come into a lot of criticism for being cruel, and some people say, for example, because cows are separated from their calves after 1 or 2 days, or the male calves are taken off to be slaughtered. What would you say? How do you respond to that criticism?
Yeah, we definitely don't slaughter our male calves. They're still reared on and they still go on then to go into the beef side of it when they're older. But the calves are taken away from the cow after a couple of days. The cow gets less upset and so does the calf.
And one of the ways of responding to a struggling dairy industry is what have been described as mega farms, where there are thousands of cows in the space. I would imagine that if there's this really intense farming, that rates of things like mastitis and exhaustion are probably going to be more prevalent.
Because cows that are inside are fed on a ration which pushes milk yield, and of course then after a while they overexert themselves and then they're worn out quicker than they would be.
Do you think that's how things are going though? Do you think mega farms are going to become the standard?
Yeah, I do.
Wow. Yeah. How would things go in an ideal world for you, for the dairy industry?
We'd like to get a decent price for our milk so that we can carry on like we are. We've never been greedy, and the money that you earn from your milk you then put back into your farm for the welfare of your cows.
It's been really eye-opening to find out about the different perspectives of animal farming. Thank you for watching.